Greetings and welcome to another Feral Bite video. Well, it's not quite like every normal Feral Bite, every normal, because I make so many. It's not. I may have had a few drinks, so I just thought I should be upfront with that, and that way, when I make a mistake, I have something to blame. On a serious note, though, alcoholism is a serious problem. If you or anyone you know has an addiction, there is help out there. Please do seek help. I'm quite happy just enjoying my vodka. So, moving right along, what we have here today for you is an upgrade to my counter. As you remember, my counter, you push a button, short impulse, whatever, it adds one. That annoyed me that you could only add one or reset. So, I've added another button. It's got another button. There's a third button now. Isn't that exciting? So it works sort of kind of like normal, except I've had to add in 3 inverters to each number. It got a little more complicated than I was hoping it to be, but that's the most stable version I can come up with at the moment. So what you see there on the right is 1, and then 2 is the same as 1, and so on and so forth. So obviously, push the top button, it adds 1. But if you push the bottom button, that's not the top, that's the bottom. At the bottom, it takes 1. And if you push the bottom button again, it takes another 1. And if you push the bottom button again, it'll take the last one off. Woohoo! Thrilling, isn't it? The other interesting thing to know is because this system works on a short pulse, hence the reason the button. If you didn't want to use a short pulse, you need to turn it into a short pulse in order for it to work. Because if you don't use a short pulse, you end up with this effect, which I have to say is kind of cool. It's tick, tick, tick. That's cool. But of course, now you see, because it can count down, it can also do that in reverse. Unfortunately, it is quite a bit slower. I think this is, I'm going to call that 2 ticks, and the top one 1 tick, essentially. I have messed around a little bit with trying to find a way to get it to go faster, but I haven't been very successful with it. Also, this is just the 4. I was trying to make them as relatively small as I could, just to see how much room it would actually take up without being too super squished together. But it does make it look a little kind of complicated. So yeah, that's the upgrade. So I'll just show you how to build that. Basically exactly what I've done there. So what I'm going to do is literally just add another one onto the end. Biofuel, give me a switch, here we go. So in order to build this, I'll build it a bit further away, and I'll make this one a little bit more expanded so you can see what's going on. So you start off with an auto switch, and this is the memory one. This is the one that counts. And obviously it's just like my other counter where you plug in the other auto switch, and I'll set that out over here a little bit so we can see a bit more what's going on. But that was initially the one that was down here. So in my other counter, actually I have it just sitting over here. Yeah, this is the counter. So in my other counter, that's the same auto switch, but it's sitting there instead of down there. That's really the only difference. So plugging it in up there, I've just moved it. So I'll just sit that one there. And then of course you have the other third, or that's not an auto switch. Where did you come from, you cheeky little thing? Auto switch. And then you have your third auto switch down here, which completes the counter set. Now, I'm going to show you actually how to lay this out exactly like that. So I will put these in closer together, but I'll explain as I go. So, and for some reason I've got this weird thing going on with connectors aren't showing up. I don't know what's happening there, it's strange. But if you put that wire in first, that will allow you to line this up. a bit nicer. So we'll pop it in somewhere like there. That's good. Now you actually need to swap straight over to the inverter and put it somewhere far enough away from that one that it's not going to pick it up as the same connection. So we'll pop it down a bit further like I have over there. I can just line it up, so stick it there. And then you need a second one. Again, it needs to be far enough away that it's not going to make the connection. You can actually put a wire there because you have to. And then you put a third one in facing the other way. Well, basically wherever you like, just about there. Then swap back to the wire and plug these two together. This is important because then you can swap back to, where I split my switch, give me the auto switch. The auto switch. Now look, see the connectors come out because it's making a connection to those two there. So if you didn't put that wire in, you can't tell where a safe place to put that is, that it's not going to connect to them. So you can just go, yeah, that's safe. So it's somewhere about there. As you can see, some of those are a bit actually further off. It doesn't matter. And that's the circuit. That's all the bits you need down. Now you just need to wire it together. So to connect it together, obviously if this is the first one, you've got this automatic switch to put in here. So if this was the first one, I'd have another automatic switch somewhere like here, like I have there. But because it's another one in the series, I'm simply going to connect it to the output from this one. This connects to that, and that continues the sequence. Now, moving in here, as you can see, it gets a bit hard because there's so many big circles and it's confusing. But if you just connect that top one there, the bottom of it, to the next one there, hence the reason the little bit of space. Now this is the trigger. This is what adds one from the add one button. They're all connected together, so if this was that, you'd connect it to, well, if this was the first one, yeah, you still need to connect that up. How did I connect that up? Hang on, let me just have a little look at this. I did connect that to there. That doesn't matter. This one doesn't actually need to be there. If this is the first one, you don't need the second. Yeah, you don't need that. Yes, you do. Sorry. I take that all back. You do need that one in because that one helps the next one trigger. That's why it's on the first one in the first place. So if it's the first one, you have that in there, but you still need that second one. Have I confused you yet? So this is the trigger, and you connect that to the actual trigger. And even if this was the first one, you still need to connect it to the trigger. So you put in that automatic switch, you connect that up there, and you connect that to power, and that triggers the first one. But you still need to connect that to the connection in the first one. Yes. So then if we come down here, we connect this bottom of this one straight into power, which is plugged in over here. Then this is the reset. This is the hardwire reset for all of them. So when this is the one that resets all of them all at once, and you connect that to there because that's plugged into the reset button. As you can see, that little red wire going across. So that will be connected to the reset button. You then connect this to the -1 button. As you can see back over here, the -1 button is at the bottom, and it's that one. So that would be connected to the -1 button, which is that connection. You then need to connect this inverter to the top of that inverter, and the bottom of this inverter goes straight to mains power. As you can see, I've got a power line running across the bottom. That's just connected to a constant flow. And this little guy here is the main one which tells it whether or not it can reset. So you connect the bottom of that output to the trigger of this inverter, and then you also need to connect the output. You need to connect the connection up here, the memory. So you know how you get the input from here, you connect that to this trigger down here. It's the same one as that one, but it's on the previous one. So that one connects to the previous one here, telling it, no, you can't be reset. This one doesn't get one. This one is just left blank. So technically, for the last one, you could actually just take this out and have this connected straight to that circuit. So you don't need that last one. And if I've remembered to put all my wires in, which it's sort of looking a lot like I have, I can now simply go back to technology, lightbox, chuck another lightbox in, grab some wire, plug you into, where did I plug the other ones into? I plugged them into the top of that, yeah. I always call that the output right there. That one there. Plug that into there, and now I have 5 instead of 4. Boop, 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 boop. Oops. Hang on, let's get back into first person. There we go. So I'll just turn the switch on, and as you can see, click, click, click. I made that one a different colour. Whoopsie doodle. Whoopsie doodle. But as you can see, it's still lit up. So I was curious to know what would happen with this too. If I turn that on, yeah, nothing happens. It won't reset because it's getting a constant flow from the other side. But of course, as soon as that turns off, it should, yeah, there we go, start to count down. Like I said, it is slower than the count up, and I'm assuming once it's counted down, yeah, it will count back up once it actually gets an input from the top. But as you can see, it is considerably slower going down than it is up. I don't like that. I really wish they were the same speed, because that would make me happy. So I may tinker. If someone comes up with a better design to make that faster, I'll be happy. Yes. But yes, anyway, that's the upgrade. Well, the first upgrade I have planned to my counter. A little bit bulkier than I'd like, but it still leaves it fairly compact. I mean, that's that right there. That is 1. That is 2. It is a fairly thin strip of circuitry, so it's not too bad. Yeah. Happy. And time for more vodka. So, the other thing I was going to show you is I got curious. How tiny could I make my counter? And as it turns out, I can make it that tiny. That's 1. And that's 2. So if you don't want the count backwards, you just want the, turn on, not the turn on, the 1, 2, 3, 4 reset, then yeah, you can make it that small. But it does suffer from the unfortunate problem of needing that additional wire. See, I've got that wire sticking out, doing nothing. Yeah, that's because connectors don't connect to connectors, and in order to get them to connect, you have to put a wire in which goes nowhere. And in order to make it that small, I had to get the wire to sit there, which is a problem because you can only do that in first person. You can't swap out, go into the flyy build cam, whee, and then go in here and do it, because you can't get close enough. That's as close as you can get, and that won't register. It'll just clicking to all the other, like when I plug that in, I can't get it to do anything in there unless I swap back to first person and then walk right up to it. But then, because that one's too high, I can't do it, I don't think. Yeah, I can't. No, it's too high. It doesn't work. So you have to be at face level, and then you can do it, which is annoying. So that's a little compact one. I'll just quickly run through how to build that by adding another one onto the end. And again, I'm missing connectors. Look, see, there's missing connectors. What is wrong with you, you stupid thing? So, again, from the start, I would need that additional AND gate, not AND gate. There's an automatic switch. But because I'm just going to add to the end, this is how you build on. So, as you can see, because I've got the wires in there, it's going to tell me, oh, I can connect. But you don't want that to connect. You want to move it out until you find that perfect sweet spot. And go, lovely. Then you plug the wire from there to there, which allows you to put the automatic switch in up at the top here. And you know what, you can, I'm going to swap to the buildy cam. And then you know what, you can be as neat as you like, and because I'm drunk, that's perfect. Then things get a little tricky. Because everything is so tiny and compact, what you have to do is you have to get that connection from that one there. So it's that one, that wire is straight out from there. So it's that one. And you need to plug it into that connection. Then you can get your, well, you don't actually have to do that first, but as you can see, it gets a little compact and tiny and difficult. Now this is the hard part, because you need to get that lined up nicely, but connectors don't show up, so you kind of have to put in the extra wire, get your automatic switch, and then you can line it up. For some reason I'm getting a weird little error where perfect lineup isn't allowed. Don't know why. So I'll just set it just slightly off center. Then I can delete the wire. Then put in another wire, but I have to swap back to first person. So I can get in nice and close, get that connection, and go bleh. Once you walk right up to it, right up, like you can't get any closer, that's as close as I can get, and you face it, it will let you put a wire on top. Like so. And that actually makes that connection work. So those two there are now connected. Awesome, right? And then you kind of get this one here, which is the trigger. That's the trigger. Yeah, you get the trigger and you plug it into that one. And then you plug the bottom of it into power. And hey presto, we're done. And that's the compact. This is as small as I can get that circuit, without there being, you know, too many horrible connections and weird stuff. But again, if you're building this somewhere where you can't get up close and personal, putting in that wire is gonna be a challenge. So I don't know if this circuit's going to be possible, not at eye level. And as always, that connection there, so yeah, let's shoot it, that one there, right there. This connection right here, or no, it's not going to even give me the other one. It just says it's that one. It's only that one exists. But it's basically the top of this one. That's where I get my output from. You can get it from here too if you really want to, but that's in here on that circuit. So you'd be pulling a wire out from here, and I'd rather pull a wire out from there. So this is each of the outputs from here and here, like so, and from here and here, like so. And as you can see, I've wired this to a short pulse generator, have I? No, I've wired this one to a short pulse generator. That one's just plugged into power, and that's the reset. So when you toggle the switch, bing, a light lights up, And I had to use switches because I ran out of buttons. And yeah, obviously that lights up again, so and then you toggle the switch, and the third one lights up. Oops, no, the third one didn't light up because I've missed something. What did I miss? I forgot to wire it in. Yeah, sorry. Plug in the top of this one to that point there. And now it works. So as you can see, once you plug that into there, they all will light up. I forgot that wire. So that's the basic circuit. And I've got weird things going on with lights and all sorts of stuff. Like you move in the right place and lights go out. I don't know what's going on. So that's the compact circuit. And that's the reset. All off. All back on. And I just really need to prove that third one really is going to light up like it's supposed to. So as you can see, there's two. Toggle it again, there's a third one. That's not three. I can count 1, 2, and 5. Yay! So there you go. 17 outputs. We're all good. I'm done. You know what? Good night, guys. That's the end of the video. If I can make any more interesting points for you, if there's anything else you want to tell me, or whatever, drop me a line. Have fun. See you out there.